I want to start with is self-love. And the reason I start with this one is because I'm always asking myself, how do I make things very simple such that they're easy to understand and more importantly, easy to use? So when we talk about self-love, I was going to use the term selfish, like you should be more selfish, but it's generally a negative term. You should be selfish in an informed way, not selfish in a foolish way. Often people are selfish in a foolish way. So I say self-love, love yourself. And this is actually in line with goals. And when we're not achieving our goals, it's particularly probably because we don't have enough self-love. We don't care about ourselves to say that, you know, you deserve to be living in the home you want. You deserve to be able to provide for your kids in the way that you want. You deserve to have the most attractive woman of your dreams. And then to actually go after that. When we don't go after that, we're experiencing two things. We're generally experiencing lack of self-belief. And then we're experiencing some kind of blockage. The self-love piece, when you love yourself, you're going to go get it. Whether there's a block or anything else, you're going to figure out what that is. But the issue is that we actually don't love ourselves enough, which is why we allow ourselves to exist in a low state. You might be thinking, Marquett, I love myself. Marquett, I want the best things for myself. But do you really when you sleep in, when you should be getting up? Do you really when you don't work out, when you know you should be working out? So the self-love, especially for men, is harder to acknowledge and deal with. But often we don't love ourselves enough, which is why we exist in a low way. For women, they're really good at the self-love thing. They have pampering, spas, all these things that they talk about.
We have Joseph came in on Cash App with tuition.
Shout out to Joseph. So there's a couple things I just want to jump to this Sunday because I had a lot of things on my mind. So remember the self-love thing. That's what drives your goals. So everything we talk about is always goals. If you don't have goals, you're without guidance. Goals for a hustler is like the God. It's the guidance. It's the thing that gives you a course to walk down. How to spot/avoid poor people, which by poor, I mean evil. Marquett, you mean evil? Yeah, I actually mean evil. What are they? And when I say how to avoid them, so of course you want to avoid them. You also don't want to be one. Number one, they're gossipers and worshipers. What do I mean by gossipers and worshipers? Gossipers, they're always talking about other people. I don't even mean that it has to be negative. Sometimes they're talking about other people in general. It might even be complimentary, but it's irrelevant and it's a waste of time. There's some people in the service industry. Sometimes I might go through a resort and someone might know my name and I have made some friends and I might ask them, like, who is that person? How do they know my name? Like, oh, we were discussing you in the break room. Why? That's stupid. Oh, because you went to Carver's Steakhouse and you were there with like 7 guys and you paid the whole check and then you tipped like $500. So we're like, who is this guy? How does he have so much money? Who cares? Who cares? I didn't say this, of course, but in my head, I'm like, who cares? You could figure out what I do for a living, who I am, what my name is. That doesn't make you richer by knowing that information. And you had a whole conversation about that. A whole conversation. Total waste of your time. They're gossipers, whether it's negative gossip or even in the positive case where they're like, wow, who's this young guy? What does he do? I want to find. It's gossip. It's nonsense. You're talking about other people, small-mindedness. You're not talking about your plans, your goals, or any of that. Small-minded, childish. They're gossipers.
That email was actually from Ken because he sent a Cash App after the email. And he said, forwarding abroad over to you. Email sent also.
He said forwarding what?
Abroad.
He sent it abroad my way? Did you give him the address? She better be bad.
And we have
Show up in a, anyways, go ahead.
KYRRE.
Yes.
Sent a Cash App and said, peace to the saints.
Peace to the saints. So they're gossipers. And they're even sometimes high-tech gossipers, which is to say that they're overly concerned with what other people are doing. What is Instagram other than a window into other people's lives to see constantly what they are doing? When you're talking about other people, whether it's negative or positive, you're not talking about yourself. You're not reflecting on yourself. You're not reflecting on your own goals. You're not planning. You're not building. You're not achieving mission. You're not making a name. You're worried about other people. It's a distraction. This is a high-tech form of gossiping and distraction. What is gossip? Talking about other people, trying to like take an eye into what they're doing.
Alpha Music said, peace to the saints, Debo in a tuxedo. Let the people know
You
it's
did.
the big homie, the one and only.
Appreciate
This
it.
is going to be sensational. Shout out to the saints in attendance for making this possible.
In a real way. Shout out to the saints in attendance. I say they're gossipers and worshipers. These are both very low things. Gossipers and worshipers. Sometimes they might worship God, but really they don't worship God. Really they worship this adult male who's laying his hand on your forehead, claiming to heal you or to baptize you or to save you, when in reality, what is he really doing? It's just all a show. This man is not being healed or saved at all. This man went into church and went out of church just as stupid. He went in broke and came out broke. He went in without a plan and came out without a plan. They're worshipers of the wrong things. You worship this man. You might worship a false god, but never do you worship your goals and your focus. Never do you worship yourself. I mean, I tell you, see the God within yourself. You say God is almighty, God is all powerful. Let's see the God within you. Let me see you exercise some power. God created you. God is in you. Let me see you exercise that kind of strength. They're worshipers. They're not trying to be God. They're not trying to be like God. They're not trying to be godly. They rather worship someone else. Put that in someone else. Here's another form of religious worship. Look at this. They're worshipers. Bunch of dumb broads. And here's the funny thing. Guys do this too. You know, your favorite rapper walks by. Ah! Can I get a selfie? Can you sign this? Here, say something on my IG story. They're worshipers. And most of the time we're worshiping the wrong things. What is in common for all of these persons, this is all poverty. It's all poverty mindset. And this is poverty and evil. This always leads to evil. They might start off speaking well of you. And I remember Bridget that pointed this out to me. She was like, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have a conversation with you about you in these resorts. You wear crazy suits. You spend a lot of money, for sure. And they might start off talking positively, but at some point, that hate gonna show up. At some point, it's gonna show up. And here, your girlfriend might be following you on Instagram, and it might be all good, but at some point, she's gonna start using Instagram as a detective. You start worshiping this man, this other human being, putting your faith in this other man who's just a man. And then you find out he's been stealing from the church. He got a side girl, even though he's in the pulpit telling you guys to be faithful to your wife. He got an extra baby mama live across town. And then he's also a closeted homosexual having intercourse with the male choir director. You're worshiping these celebrities who don't know much more than you. They just happen to be able to sing a tune. It's all evil and poverty. One. Number two, delusional and overvalue themselves. They believe in false equality. You know, the reason that, and I want you guys to understand delusion. Delusion means that you're not seeing reality. You're lying to the self. So delusion is where you are. Self-honesty is where you need to go. We all experience levels of delusion. Oh, absolutely. We look in the mirror, we don't really see what's there. Overvaluing themselves. I'm not trying to put down anyone's self-esteem, but I'm saying if you're in a bad situation, but you are comfortable there, or if you're low down, but you don't think you're low down, you're going to stay there. If you wrongly think that you are equal to someone you're not equal to, oh, that's the biggest issue. You're going to have a hard time in this world. You know, here's the funny thing. I'll give you an example of how a man thinking he's equal when he's not equal is problematic. It's actually going to hold you back. We saw last time I was at the boxing match, we saw Jose Benavidez and we saw David Benavidez. They're brothers. They grew up together. We know both of them are probably in the boxing gym spending equal amounts of time, but not getting equal outcomes. I watched Jose Benavidez. That was his name, right? Jose?
Yes.
We watched Jose Benavidez get the snot beat out of him. Then we watched David Benavidez beat the snot out of someone else. He's the A side. He was the main event. So he and his brother spent equal amounts of investment of time, energy, exercise, and focus in the boxing gym. But David got more outcome out of it, maybe because his arms are longer and his height is greater, and he might have something different in his head. But either way, he got a different outcome, which means that they're no longer equal. Boom. David is putting his time, effort, and energy into something where he has a competitive advantage. There's something about him that's allowing him to be more successful while investing the same amount of time, energy, and effort, which is to say, if I am a good looking man and another guy is fat and ugly, and we both invest the same amount of time, energy, and effort to being a runway model, I'm going to get better results. Which is why you must always figure out, where can I go or invest my time and energy where I'm going to get a greater outcome than anyone else who would invest the same amount of time and energy. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, I can't sing at all. I would love to be able to sing. Can you sing? You can sing. So if we both take singing lessons, you're going to get better outcomes. I'll get better, but you have the chance to be excellent and to be paid for singing. So I would be a fool to ever believe in equality, because there is no equality. We're not the same height. We're not the same weight. We don't have the same natural talents. So to ever believe in equality, we're lying to ourselves. And it'll hurt us, because what happened is Jose Benavides, he got a check, but he got a smaller check, and he got his ass beat to get his check. David Benavides got a big check, and he didn't get his ass beat. He go to the club afterward. He ain't got a headache. So the problem is those two Benavides brothers were raised up the same, being told with equality, oh, you guys can both be boxers. Your dad's a trainer. You can both be fighters. And Jose Benavides is dealing with false equality, and he's suffering as a result. We often look at other people and think we're equal. We're the same. We're not equal at all. For example, if Tony Robbins, if Elon Musk, not Elon Musk, I don't find him to be so interesting, but say Tony Robbins came in here and he wanted to attend, I'll say, hold on. Let me take off this microphone. I give him this microphone. Tony, do your thing. He'd be like, no, I'm just here to watch. I don't give a shit what you're here for. You got 40, 30 years of age on me. I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars on me. Lot of experience and knowledge. I'm not going to waste my time being up here talking, because I want to learn. Rather than talk and be in the spotlight, I'd rather learn. We often have so much ego, and we wrongly believe in equality. And the people who are lowest among us, there's two people who have huge ego. The ones who are the lowest and the ones who are the highest. The people in the middle, they're fairly fucking normal. But the low ones who are actually low, man, they be so confident. I tell you, you ever been approached? I know you have. You've been approached by a fat, ugly girl? Fat and ugly at the same time. Walk up confident as hell. Talking about like, hey, Redbone. You know, she walk up confident trying to holler. But bad chicks, they be coming up to you like, you know, they be kind of nervous, or, you know, they don't want to come direct with it. They don't have as much confidence, delusional confidence, as a fat, ugly girl. It's fascinating. So it's like at these two levels, you have extraordinary ego. Our goal is to get our ego to a mid-range. So if Tony Robbins was here, I would hand over the mic and say, let me sit down and learn. I don't care if this is the Saint in the Center podcast. I don't care if it's the Saint in the Center show. Today is show. You the man. I want to learn. That'd be the smartest thing for me to do. I wouldn't even say it's humble. I'd say it's just smart, because I want to win. Humble's fine. I'm not trying to be humble. I'm just trying to win. If being humble is helpful, I'll use it. Number 3, they're problem-focused idlers. And you can tell in their conversation. Their conversation is about challenge. Their conversation is about bad things. It's negative. I noticed this because I came out of poverty, and this is poverty. These people deal with problems. That's all they know. That's all they really want. I remember when I was coming out of poverty, and I would listen to people talk, and I would also observe them shut down or end the conversation quickly. And I think people who grow up middle class or wealthy in America, they almost do it instinctively, to where, because they were enculturated into that, they don't notice the cues in their language. Me being an outsider and a student, I had to watch and listen. And I noticed, I was like, oh, I noticed when so-and-so said that, bro kind of tuned out on them. When so-and-so said that, dude like kind of left. Like even among the saints, there's so many things that, you know, I want to help teach over time. It looks like my phone came unplugged. I want to teach over time. Like one thing I did not know about when I was a young man, there's a such thing as saying too much. Yeah, you can say too much to where you hurt yourself. As they say, loose lips sink ships. And this is what I mean. You know, after last Sunday service, we were chopping it up. You know, and men, we start talking about women every now and then, right? So, you know, we telling stories. You heard me, some of these stories start going a little bit left. And at one point, one of the saints, I ain't gonna name no names, he had just ended a good story, and then he was about to start up on another story. He said the most outlandish shit. And I was like, hey, you know, I got to get up out of here. I'm gonna see you guys later, because it was my cue to go. And what I realized is that as you move up in station and status, there are some things that are is not something you want to hear or talk about because it's not productive, or it just might be a little bit below you. And when I was that gentleman's age or when I was younger, I tend to say too much. And I learned over time that you have to think before you speak. So now I have a lot of conversations with myself before I have it out loud. And a lot of times when I have a conversation with myself, I don't have anything to say. But remember, they're problem focused and they're idlers. What I mean by idlers is that they got time to be on the Instagram. They have time to be on the video games. They have time to have long conversations. They have time to create a mountain out of a mole, which is to say to create a problem out of nothing. Even last night, there was an issue with a older white woman at the valet that she created. It was the strangest thing on earth. It was sheer jealousy. And I remember thinking, I use valet just as everyone because it's faster, it's convenient and fast. And she wanted to create a problem. And I was like, you know what? This makes perfect sense because she has time. Her time is not valuable. She has nowhere interesting to be. And you need to think about this when you're dealing with people who would engage you with a problem. You should realize they don't have nowhere to be. They don't have to arrive at a goal. They don't have to achieve anything. They have nowhere to be. I'm about to write an article about two older European women I met night before last. And I just remember and I could tell that they were lower class women because when a lower class person is accustomed to being around other lower class people and they have the privilege of being around someone who's ambitious, successful, they kind of hate your traits. They're like, hey, you walk fast. I do walk fast. I have somewhere to be. Absolutely. And you hear people say dumb things on the internet all the time, like, oh, kings don't walk fast. Wealthy people don't walk fast. Is that factual? Because I walk fast because what's going on in between often doesn't matter. It's what's at the goal is where I want to bask and be slow and take my time. For example, if I want to go to Dubai, I'm not going to go slowly to get there. I'm going to go fast as possible to get there. And then when I'm in Dubai, now let's go slow and enjoy because this is where I want to be. I don't want to be in transit. I'm minimizing transit time. I'm maximizing time at destination. Poor people are not on their way anywhere, so it doesn't matter if they're going fast or slow. And because they're lazy and slow in the mind, going slow is their preset. What they see is a rush. I was like, baby, you think this is a rush? You ain't even seen me on fast forward. This is normal. This is my walking pace. You have to understand these people and avoid them, for they are evil and they will be a poison to you because their great goal is to make you like them. True story. Poor people, they don't know how to allocate capital. This is a big one. I was about to get a statistic for you and I decided not to get it. And I'll tell you why. I was going to figure out how much money do poor people spend on cigarettes? People who are addicted to cigarettes. And I say poor, they might have some money, but they're still poor and they're still evil. How much money do they spend on cigarettes? I was about to find out. I don't smoke cigarettes, so it's not even a good use of my time to figure out because I've never smoked one, never will. So I don't want to know how much money they're losing. I just know I'm saving a lot. How much money do they spend on alcohol? And this is money direct on alcohol, money direct on cigarettes. Don't consider if you actually get sick from these things, which you will, you're going to spend more money on that. Then we got the dummies spending money on consumables that have no meaning. You buy the dumb broad the flowers last for 4 days, and now she has nothing. Maybe not even a memory. You wait 2 years later. Hey, you remember when I bought you flowers on the 4th of, when is Valentine's? 14th of February?
14th or 15th, I'm not sure.
Exactly, it doesn't matter, but whenever it is. You remember when I bought you flowers on Valentine's Day in 2019? Bitch don't remember, and she has nothing to show for it, which helps her not remember. It's a consumable that has no value, that's extremely expensive. Only rich people should be doing this if they choose, but it's still stupid. I refuse. But you have poor people doing rich people things in terms of how they allocate capital, time, money. You got to be really rich to spend money on something that you don't need, doesn't sustain you, and it hurts you. You got to be really rich. I can't afford cigarettes or alcohol or flowers or bottle service to pay for bottles that are marked up 1,000%. When you factor all of these dumb things in over a year, how much money have you lost? Surely you would have lost at least $1,000 on the low side and much more. Here's how a hustler thinks. If I was actually poor, I notice these people all the time. Hey, you got a cigarette? You got a Lucy? And often people, even other bums or people who are in poverty and might not know it, middle-class people who are impoverished thinkers are like, yeah, I got one. I'll pull one out and smack that pack and pull it out and hand it over. And then what does the bum do? They light it up and smoke it. Well, they probably, you got a lighter? And they start smoking it. See, I'm the kind of guy, I can never be poor for long. That's why I don't have a problem saying poor people are evil. Because if I was in utter poverty today, you'd probably give me a month. I'll be poor tops for a month. And then I'll be back on after that. Because I'm the kind of motherfucker, I'll go around, hey, you got a cigarette? They're like, yeah, no, for sure. Hand me a cigarette. Thank you. Pull back up on somebody else. Hey, you need a cigarette? I got a Lucy. 50 cents. Yeah, I'm slanging these Lucy's. I'm getting them for free, and then I'm slanging them 50 cents a pop to people who are low income like myself. Next thing you know, I've borrowed 10 cigarettes today, and I sold them for 50 cents. I got extra $5. I'm also panhandling in this motherfucker, and I'm trying to catch me a lady bum, you dig? Might be able to put her on the market. We gonna get out of here. But what these dummies do, they get the Lucy and smoke it. Smoke the money, the product. Poor people are poor for a reason. They don't know how to allocate capital. Their time is a capital. They don't know how to allocate it. Their money is a capital. They don't know how to allocate it. You should be asking yourself when you're spending money on shit, like, damn, what does this invest in and what does this return me? What does it invest in and what does it return me? Even when I get dressed, I ask myself, what can I do in this outfit? If I wear a suit, I know I could get my thug on in different ways. People are going to perceive me and respect me in a different way. There's certain things I always wear a suit. If I'm trying to catch me a little young bitch, I'm not going to wear a suit. I might wear a ball cap or something like that. Might even shave the beard. You dig? I'm always asking myself, what is the best costume for this role so I can get my outcome? You keep your thinking cap on. These motherfuckers ain't thinking at all. Hey, why'd you buy that cigarette, that first one? Why'd you use that first cigarette when you were a child? You ask them, they couldn't even tell you a real answer. It's probably because they want to be cool or something goofy like that. They couldn't even tell you. Saying all of this stuff, I want you to remember about poor people and their capital allocation. Here's a great thing about money. It's infinite. It's fucking infinite. You know how much money we've sent to Israel, how much money we're sending to the Ukraine war? It's infinite. Yeah, we send it over there and we still got this country of ours is still going. Apparently the money's infinite because it's just a psychological idea. So you should be able to take this thing and use it effectively. Ideally on things that don't disappear. You smoke the cigarette, then it's gone. What do you have left except lung cancer? You drink the drink, then it's gone. What do you have left except cirrhosis of the liver? You buy the bottles. What do you have left? Some cute Instagram photos. So your girlfriend be like, who's this girl in the background that was at your table? What do you have left? You buy the flowers. What do you have left? You ain't even got the bitch. The bitch done ran off. You hear me? You done bought her the flowers. She done ran off eventually. Invest money in yourself. And the money goes in here in your brain. You get skills and knowledge that you can use for a lifetime. A lifetime. And here's the thing. You're not spending money. You're investing money. You spend money on something that you can use for your whole life. That's how wealthy people allocate capital. They think about it. They say, what does this do for my future? Can I hold on to this? You can't hold on to the money, but when you allocate the money and you get knowledge or skills, you can hold on to that.